Hi, everybody. I'm Conrad Meacham.
And I'm Mike Kelsey, and welcome to the fourth episode. Is it third or fourth?
It's the fourth episode.
Wow, the fourth episode of Trading
Trading
Tracks
Tracks.
with my main man, Conrad. We're so happy to be with you once again today. And we have a special guest today, right, Conrad?
Yeah, we do. I am so pleased to introduce Nick Davies. Nick is an old friend of mine. We go back to at least 1995. And actually, Nick has a lot to do with who I am as far as the radio goes because Nick started doing DJing. He started doing a radio show on Radio Winchcombe. And when I decided to start doing more radio or getting into radio, Nick was the guy I went to, and Nick gave me all of the pointers and everything I need to know to how to get started. So, Nick, welcome to Trading Tracks, man. How you doing?
Oh, welcome. You've built me up so big. 1995. That's a
Yeah.
long time ago.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
And we'll leave that bit in history because there's a lot of history there.
Oh yeah, this those stories need to be buried and never resurrected.
That's funny.
After midnight next flicks program.
That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely. So we're here doing Trading Tracks with Nick. And because you're our guest, Nick, we're going to let you start off Trading Tracks today, buddy. So it's up to you to dig in your bag of tricks and come up with the first track for us to get down with.
Okay, first track. I think you're going to know this one. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it's all going to pan out all right. I'm just going to hit the play button and then I'll fade it out a little way in. So here we go.
I never crossed the track, baby, and I know what it's like. Get down, baby, across the track. Get down, baby, get down.
I'll fade it out just about there. Now,
Okay.
obviously, you know that song. It's quite a famous song.
Yeah.
Now, to me, that's got a
Yeah, I was shaking a little bit because,
way back into the 1980s.
like I said, I know Conrad. I know what he's got.
Days of the nightclub. Every nightclub in the UK, I don't know if it's like this in the States, try to be like Studio 54.
Mm.
Yeah.
So the bouncers used to turn up and they used to pick who went in and who didn't go in. You know, you used to dress up like you're going to an interview to go to a nightclub. You know, so in the UK, they had enough of that. They really had enough of that. And there was a pub just outside in Kent. There's a place called Gravesend. And I'd been there many years before that when I was still at school. It was a biker's pub. And they used to play heavy metal. And they had this big hall at the side. So there's a local promoter called Eddie Gordon. He'd been out to Ibiza. And he'd seen what they were doing in Cafe Del Mar at the time. Alfredo was doing all this wonderful stuff. So he put this nightclub there called the Slammer. And he had sheets and projections and everything. And he walked in. The first track I walked in was that track.
Mm.
And I stopped dead. You didn't have to dress up like you're going in an interview. And I stopped dead. And I thought, this is where nightclubs should be. And it was just from that point onwards, that track's always stuck in my mind.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice. All right. Well, on the last episode, Conrad cheated his ass off and musically, and he won. I gave credit. I gave credit where credit is due, and so I think the winner of the last one should go last, personally. And see, I'm putting you on ice for another second because that was some crap last week, but
I ain't mad.
it's all good this week. So all right. Nick got his in. So I was trying to figure out which way I was going to go. And I think that I played this a few weeks ago. I can't remember if it was on the Revenge show or on the channel show. But this is kind of what I was thinking because I didn't know what to expect from Nick. So I said, all right, is he going to come in dance? Is he going to come in? I didn't know. So I kind of played the middle. I kind of played the middle on this one because I didn't know which way he was going to go. So I thought this would be a safe bet. So I went with Walking on Sunshine, Rockers Revenge. Okay. So not that I'm a betting man, but knowing that KONRAD is coming up behind me and thinking about what I just played, can I put my prediction out there?
Jump all over it.
I'm going to go with KONRAD dropping some D-Train.
You know that's a good shout, and I've got some D-Train lined up. But it's not on my decks. But I do have it in my list for the day.
I was feeling some D-Train coming from you.
Well,
so, okay.
I've been playing D-Train earlier today for some reason, and I put it in my list. But I'm actually going to go a different way, and it's only because you guys have kind of thrown me really off today. Because Nick came out of left field, and I wasn't expecting you to come from where you came from, so I kind of had to fall back into my pocket, and I'm going this way, y'all.
That was cold. Went like that. Okay.
I just love how he sounds like he's having an asthma attack.
If you want me to stay, I'll be around today to be available for you to see. I'm about to go, and then you'll know for me to stay, I got to be me. You'll never be in doubt, that's what it's all about. You can't take me for granted and smile. Yeah, please, I'm gone. Forget reaching my phone, because I promise I'll be gone for a while. When you see me again, I hope that you have been the kind of person that you really are now. Got to get in straight. How could I ever be late when you're my woman taking up my time? How could you ever allow? I wonder how would you get out of pocket for fun? How when you know that you're never number two, number one gonna be number one.
Wow. You know what? That song isn't as long as I thought it was.
No, it's only like 2 minutes and some change.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful there. That was pretty powerful.
I remember when that song came out, because I thought Sly was done. I thought Sly's done, because back in the day, Sly is super popular. He would set up a concert, especially in DC. When he come to DC, Sly never show up.
Yeah. I had a friend of mine that I used to work with that he was going to Hampton at the time, and he would tell me stories about Sly supposed to be playing at the Hampton Coliseum, and then waiting for hours. And then the band coming on stage. And I remember he told me one time the band came on stage, and then Sly came out like 20 minutes after the band came on stage. And then he turned around and walked off the stage. And everybody started screaming like, no. And he said, no, I'll be right back. And he went and got a little hit and came back. And then he said he put up a great show. So wish I could have been around to see that. He told me stories, sorry about that, of Sly, of seeing Bob Marley. He told me about seeing Bob Marley down there, and what an excellent show that was. So, wish I could have seen things like that.
Oh wow, cool.
He was way ahead of his time.
Yeah,
At least 30, 40 years way ahead of his time. And I had the pleasure of actually interviewing the Family Stone a few years ago, and I asked them about Woodstock.
Oh, wow.
I said, "What was it like at Woodstock? It's dark." I said, "What do you mean dark?" They said, "We didn't go on till 3 o'clock in the morning.
Mm,
We couldn't see anyone."
that's crazy. That is too crazy.
As many narcotics as they were using. I'm surprised they can remember Woodstock. Really.
Oh my goodness, yeah. And I remember coming back. I was from a Radio Winchcombe show when I was there. Lilith, what do you say about the Radio Winchcombe days and anything else? It's Radio 3 used to have in the UK used to have a show on, a radio show on where it was called Late Junction, and they actually played some Sly Stone, but it was stuff that was, as I say, was about 30 or 40 years ahead of where it was when it was released in the 1970s. There's loads of stuff, a bit like Prince, really. There's loads of stuff that's around that's never been released.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? Some of the stuff, and I hate to say this because I'm an avid Prince fan, some of the stuff that they're releasing, they probably could have just kept it in the vault that they're releasing now. It's in the vault for a reason. That's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, they're doing that with a lot of jazz stuff as well. They're going back and finding stuff, and I reviewed an Aretha, was it Aretha Ella Fitzgerald album a few years ago that someone had taped with a tape recorder, and they've released it, and the sound was awful, and it should have been left where on the tape recorder.
So Nick, I have to ask you, what are you up to today so that people can know what you're getting into? Because you've been so busy. You're like one-legged man in a kick fight. You're so busy.
I've had to slow down. I was at one point, I think I was putting out 3 or 4 radio shows in a week and interviewing different artists. I was interviewing 5 or 6 nights a week as well, and that takes a lot.
Yeah.
So I do 2 shows now. One on Soul Legends Radio, which is a crazyology radio show. It's a jazz show. It's 3 hours every Saturday, and I focus on anybody. So any up and coming jazz players, and some of the established artists as well. So people send me music and I play it. I have no preference. And but over a period of time, you know that certain labels will send you stuff and you think, yeah, that's going to be a good, a good release. And then I do another show for them, and it's a weird title show. I don't know where I came from. It must have been a morning title for a show. Egg on toast with a side of bacon, and people think, what on earth is this? And it's basically it's a dance music show. Lots of people are sending me lots of dance music, and so I put together a little mix show, and that goes out on Soul Legends Radio and a parish radio station as well. So, and that's interesting because it gets me to look at a different side of music, and people knock electronic dance music, and there's a lot of knockers out there saying, oh, it's not true and stuff like that. But if you look at where it came from, it originated from disco, and as far as I see, it is disco today.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's kind of cool that disco's making a comeback, because that 4 on the floor, you kind of miss it. So, hey, what can you do? So what you got for us, Nick?
Good doings. No, wait. Before we do that, speaking of doing stuff, KONRAD, come on, man. You're doing 2 shows. You're doing interviews. What's the thing now, the TV thing I saw you post? Come on, man. You're killing the media here.
Oh, man. I don't know. I guess I'm trying to be as busy as Nick. So, as you know, me and you, we're on the same station. So we're on channel radio back to back. I come first, you come second. We're on Revenge FM. You come first and I come second, which is going to be drama. It's going to be terror for me anyway. And, we do this here. We do trading tracks. And I've got a really special thing. I've been invited to do an interview on Buddha Palm TV. And the guy's name is Trevor Williams. And he's so kindly invited me to do an interview. And the way the interview is set up, and it's going to be really exciting for me, he asked me for 10 songs and 10 movies from my past that I really liked, and it's had some kind of influence on me. So I've sent him those, and then we're going to have a chat about those songs and those movies. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see, how I navigate my way through remembering all of those things. But it's going to be a lot of fun. That's going to be on Buddha Palm TV, and in about a week or so it'll show up on YouTube on Buddha Palm TV.
quite frightening to see what the movies would be. But we know it starts with Scarface. I don't know where it goes after that, though. We know it starts there. All right, Nick, the ball is yours. What you got?
Okay, I've got this one.
Hold on to my body. Don't let go of me, babe. Hold on to my body.
So I'm going to cut it there because we don't want the censors out there to stop us from playing our music.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Yeah, we learned that the hard way. Okay.
Yeah, food, drama.
Yeah, we had to pull a couple episodes down. So, or at least make some adjustments.
Yeah.
We'll leave it there. So that was Mike and Brenda Sutton. And a great title for a song. Don't let go of me, grip my hips and move me. So well, there you go.
Like that. Kind of like that.
Point. Straight to the point.
There you go. There you go.
Not a song. It's another song that stopped me dead when I heard it. I heard it on radio over here, and it's released in the early 1980s, and I think everyone sort of missed it, unless you were going to those sort of clubs where they were playing that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it sort of epitomizes that move from disco into boogie and what they were looking at doing and breaking those artists that maybe that, you know, when people think disco, they think Bee Gees, they think Chic, obviously, and Saturday Night Fever, but there was a lot of stuff going on that DJs are breaking, and that song really does it for me. That sort of move from disco into boogie, and obviously Mike and Brenda Sutton were, well, I believe at Motown, and were songwriters there.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what? It's funny because when they talk about disco now here, it really kind of grated me. There was a Dancing with the Stars, and Earth, Wind, and Fire was on there. They did a song on there, and they introduced them as the disco band Earth, Wind, and Fire. And I almost got in my car and drove down to the studios to beat somebody.
Mm. You know what? That song actually kind of it had a Solar feel to me. You know, it had kind of that Solar Records feel to me in some ways. The one that Nick just played.
Yeah, it has got that sort of early Solar, I would say, Whispers, that type of thing. But yeah, I can't remember what label it came out on. I had to sort of trawl around to find it on MP3, but I managed to get hold of a copy of it. Sort of thing I would throw in a set to surprise people.
Definitely.
I don't think many people have actually heard it. And as for the disco band Earth, Wind and Fire, oh my goodness.
Can't beat the BBC for that, you know.
Oh, yeah, I think, you know, you even hear, you know, the band ABBA mentioned as a disco band. Well, I think the disco I've got. I'm sure it wasn't the disco Larry Levan was playing back in the day.
That's funny.
Too funny. What's going on, Mike?
Just a lot of stuff, man. Just you know, aside from the craziness that is Washington D.C. right now, just been staying busy. You know, between work. I recently did I think I told you about this public service announcement I did for Prince George's County for COVID for seniors, and that just went out. Okay, so anybody that knows me knows that 5 minutes after I do something, I pretty much hate it. And when I heard the finished version of that, I was like, this is the worst thing I've ever heard. It was just, they loved, bottom line is they loved it. I got paid for it, done, out. Okay. And, but there's one word in the contract that bothers me about this thing, and it says that they have it in perpetuity, and I'm just like,
See, that's
yeah, that's kind of a bummer. I do need to send you something though that I did for Revenge, actually, that I hadn't told you about.
Okay.
I did promos for Revenge Relax, and
Cool.
it's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. I'll send you some copies to check out.
It's cool. That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah. Robbie did a great job with him. He's the best. He did a great job with them. So I got 2 songs in queue, and one of them is a band that I have just recently, I've always liked, but I've recently fallen in love with, and I kind of want to go there, but I did something last week that I just can't get out of my mind. So I think I'm gonna head in this direction, and that's because I saw my man Conrad come out of the spaceship with the fur coat on and the cane.
Whoa! They say the bigger the headache, the bigger the pill, baby. Call me the big pill. Dr. Funkenstein, the disco fiend with the monster sound, the cool ghoul with the bum transplant.
Hip bone connected to my thigh bone connected to my leg bone connected to my ankle bone.
I get so hung up on bones. Dr. Funkenstein here.
Preoccupied and dedicated to the preservation of the motion of the hips.
We love to funk you, Funkenstein. Your funk is the best. Talk! Take my body, give it to mine. Move on with the rest.
Kiss me on my ego.
Hit me with the one and then. If you like, hit me again. We love to Funkenstein.
So let me give a little explanation on this one. So Conrad did his first show last week on Revenge FM, and I was trying to find a way to bring him on board. And I thought about this song, and I visualized Conrad stepping out of the mothership with the white fur coat on and the high boots and the cane and a fuzzy hat, and just strutting down the steps up to the mic. And I was like, this is the perfect visual leading him into Revenge FM.
Too funny.
It was the perfect visual. And when you held up that cane, I knew it was true. I knew it was true when you held up the cane. I was like, yeah, he old pimp. Ain't no doubt about that, all right? Oh, look at him. Look at him. Still got it nearby.
Yeah. I'll tell you, Mike, we went to a 1970s theme night when we was at AT&T back in the night. And Conrad, man,
we hear some stories now. Okay. Go ahead.
We all tried really hard, and then Conrad just blew us all away.
I can imagine. I can only imagine. That was hilarious. Yeah, and I was trying to picture how I saw him entering, and that was it. There was no doubt that was it.
I think the best thing about that night, we all got dressed. Remember that night we all got dressed up, went to the pub, and it was absolutely terrible. And there we were walking around the East End of London. Like George Clinton.
Yeah. I think I had a afro wig on.
You had an afro wig,
yeah. Hey, if you're gonna do it,
do it right.
Go hard or go home.
That's it.
Oh boy. So you stepped in my lane as far as what I'm gonna probably do today on Channel Radio. Because I have this one that I'm gonna do. Yeah. Let's go ahead and stay with George, Uncle George.
Was really tough. I can
Yeah, boy, oh boy. Now, let me tell you about that song because we were just talking about music and how it transitions and all of that. And this song, you can definitely feel the rock in it because
Mm.
that guitar, that straight rock guitar, but it's funk music. And one of the things that George Clinton said is, it's kind of all in there together. It is what it is, you know? So there's not just a single genre of music, it kind of all develops and grows and morphs into something else.
Hmm. I always wondered, is that why there were the two bands? There was Parliament and there was Funkadelic.
You
Were
know,
they two separate entities? I always wondered about that.
so there's a long story with that, and I can't remember everything about what he was saying. So it started off as Parliament Funkadelic, then it was Parliament, then it was Funkadelic, and then you had all of the other branches off of it. And it had something to do with labels and contracts and something like that. The
So,
reason he started breaking up, and then you had the Brides of Funkenstein, and it turned into a whole alternate reality, really.
mm, yeah, it makes perfect sense. Nick, if you don't mind, I'm
No.
gonna jump real quick. I'm just good because he didn't set it up. So he knows I had to come back with it. He knows I had to come with it. Just get this out of my system real quick.
Even if you don't dig it, don't mean it's not the thing or thing to do. Could be just for you. Even if you don't feel it right now, don't mean someday it'll turn you out. You'll be out of sight. You really shouldn't ought to fight it. The music is designed to do no harm. It's just for you. With just a little bit of effort, I can't end where we might just turn you on.
Whoa.
Oh,
Mike.
he's gone.
Mike disappeared. He got taken into the mothership. Hopefully George will drop him off into some funk.
Hopefully. But we can carry on talking one before the mic comes back. It's funny how people like to put music. I've said it. You've heard my radio show. I said it before. People put music into boxes.
Well, that was uncomfortable. Sorry about that.
Well, you got sucked up into the mothership, didn't you?
For a brief second there. All right, I'm out.
Go ahead. What would you say, Nick?
Yeah, people like to put music into boxes, and I think that's when it becomes dangerous. When people start saying, "Oh, this genre, that genre," it's all music at the end of the day. You know, there's jazz music out there that's got rock influences in it, and there's funk music with rock in. You know, it is music, and if people enjoy it, that's what it's all about.
Absolutely, without a doubt. So, what do you guys set up for us?
I'm going to hit you with this one. This was one of the reasons why I started to again, it's extending that disco feel into house music, and this is possibly they call him the godfather of house, Frankie Knuckles. Yeah, the great Frankie Knuckles and Jamie Principle, Your Love. Yeah, the legend that he was. God rest his soul.
May he rest in
Chicago started it all off, really, and he did was just take disco from New York
Oh yeah, yeah.
and started to extend it with loops and stuff. And I think the original bass line from that comes from an Italian disco track, but that started it all off really, and it is where it is today. As I said before, some people loathe it and absolutely hate it and don't call it music. Those boys, those DJs are making a lot of money. So there's a lot of people out there that enjoy it, and you can still, and I've seen them do it now. They still play that song, and it still fills the dance floor.
Oh yeah, yeah. You know what? Matter of fact, a buddy of mine, he did a song back then, the house era, "Break for Love." Buddy of mine, Eric Dow, and you know he's making money off of that now, hand over fist. It's crazy. It's all coming full circle, you know.
Yeah,
So
it is.
Yeah. So, matter of fact, I was supposed to have Eric on my show a couple of weeks ago. It was right before lockdown, and so that didn't happen. But I'll get him back in. So we'll do some chatting with Eric Dow. Mike, what you got lined up?
man, well, after the little disaster I had there, I had to kind of reboot everything. I lost everything, but I'm back. So I was talking about a band. So I'm gonna jump like way. I'm going south. I'm going south. Would that be southwest of the states? I think maybe southwest of this. No, not southwest. South of the states. Let's just stay south. And a band that I've always liked, but that I've recently fallen in love with, and I haven't figured it out why. I mean, it's just funk. It's just real, and maybe that's just it. It's the Meters out of New Orleans. I've just really been digging their music a lot here lately, and so I'm going with this one. I dropped a different track from them last week called "Finally Kissed My Baby," and I've just been really grooving. I've been in this pocket here lately with the Meters. So that's what.
It's definitely funky.
Yeah, kind of like a Neville kind of New Orleans Zydeco funk. That's where I've been. Maybe it's you know what? It's really vacation time. I think is what it is, and I just need to go somewhere and just let loose kind of thing. But that's been my vibe here lately.
They're a sort of band that you sort of come across. I came across them, and once you hear them, you think,
Yeah.
they're that type of band.
It just takes over. They just take over, and I've been noticing me adding more of their music every week, and I'm definitely going to do some more research into them because I just love the groove. Definitely love.
Hey,
Maybe it's because we're purists. we discovered them, but maybe that's what it is, Mike.
You could be very right. You could be, and that's why I'm really. I said this 1,000 times, and Conrad's heard me 1,000 times say this. Why I'm really looking forward to COVID ending because I want to come to the UK because you guys get it and you guys really dig the music. You appreciate the music, unlike a lot of times here in the States. So I'm really hoping that things can break soon. I can get out that way, hang out with you guys.
well, it'll be over soon, and you better see if you can't get up over here because
I'm coming, no doubt, no
you got
doubt.
a mad following over here. You're a superstar over here.
That's hilarious. That thing that Mike posted the other day about banning women from sitting on the speakers when I'm on, that had me in tears.
I hollered. I hollered.
It's
too
like,
funny.
oh wow.
So that track put me in the frame of mind of D'Angelo's drummer, Questlove,
Mm.
because it had just that slight little delay to it when he was hitting it. It was just like that little bit of delay.
Mhm.
So I figured, why not go ahead on and let my man do some stuff?
Let me tell you about this girl, maybe I should. I met her in Philly, and her name was Brown Sugar. See, we be making love constantly, that's why my eyes are a shade blood burgundy. The way that we kiss is unlike any other way that I be kissing when I'm kissing. What I miss, won't you listen? Brown sugar, babe, I guess high up your love, I don't know how to tell me your brown sugar. I want some of your brown sugar. I want some of your brown sugar. I want some of your brown sugar.
I remember when this song came out. It was so funky, and the funny part about this song for me is my aunt turned me on to this song. She was like, "Yeah, this guy, his name is D'Angelo, and this you got to check that out. When you hear that, it's gonna change your life." Blah blah blah. And sure enough, I heard Brown Sugar, and I was like, "Okay,
Yeah, that's no doubt.
Auntie got skills,
Nah, about that.
man." And it's amazing about him. And the reason I say that is he's such a talented guy, and he has like 3 albums out, and that's just I don't get it. I mean, he's made money off of every one of them, but with his talent, you would think he would be producing more stuff, getting more stuff out, but he's got 3 albums out. Oh, and that reminds me of something. I was you guys will be able to put me straight on this. So I was listening to the radio this morning to the news because I'm old. And one of the guys, he does music. It's BBC Radio London. And he was saying that Maze, featuring Frankie Beverly, have 17 studio albums.
Mm.
I can't see that. I maybe they're counting all of the anthologies and best ofs and ultimates, but Maze don't have that many albums out. I'm sure they don't have that many albums that aren't repeats.
That's a good question. I mean, they've got a lot of material. There's no doubt they got a lot of material. 17, that seems kind of high. 17 does seem high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
11 seems kind of high.
That's funny. I'm searching still, so I hope it's next time.
Yes, Nick's go. Nick's got to dig in his bag of tricks and come out with something to bust us upside the head with.
Yeah, I'm definitely going left field now. This is a band that I had the pleasure of interviewing live. In fact, I did some of the interview and Henry took over. So Henry was my son Mike, and I think he was 8 at the time, and he took over. They loved him. They come from Chicago. They are the Hypnotic Brass Ensemble, 7 brothers, and this is a song called Violet Moon from a few years ago. That's Violet Moon, the Hypnotic Brass Ensemble. And you go see one of their shows, you don't have ears left.
Yeah, you hooked me right away.
I like that.
Yeah, you hooked me right away on that one. That didn't take but 2 seconds to hook me on that one.
I like. What is it called again?
Violet Moon.
Yeah.
I got a Hypnotic Brass Ensemble. Check out their music, and once you start with that, and then someone produced an app a few years ago, Jazz Family Trees, and you can put in Miles Davis, and everyone comes off of it, and you start exploring those, and then start looking at some of these brass New Orleans bands that are in the States. There's a few of them out there, and they're all doing that sort of stuff. And they are a brass band. They do have vocals occasionally, but they are a brass band. And yeah, they were possibly one of the loudest bands I've ever heard. Apart from Kamasi Washington, but he's not a brass band; he's a saxophone player, and he was just incredible. But yeah, they're really, really good. So once you start getting into that, Mike, you never come out again. That's like a world that's never ending.
That's nice. Yeah, that was they're out of Chicago, you said.
Yeah.
Nice. I'm gonna look them up, definitely. All right. So you guys are spinning me so many different directions. When we were doing the dance thing, I had something lined up, and I always liked this guy, and I got him, but then you just went with the brass thing, and now I've got something with that. So I think I'm going to stick in the vibe that we're in now with the brass thing. And I've said before that when I was doing the show on WHUR in DC, the Time Tunnel, there was a CD I would never leave home without. It was a permanent part of my bag because I could always go to it at any time. And it was the best of the JBs. And I could always find a track that will just fit perfectly. These guys just had it right here.
Let's give it some more. 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 Let's give it some more.
You could just never go wrong. And I would always find like we'd come out of news or traffic or commercial set, and you had to get to the top of the hour. And I would always pull this out, and I would drop any track off of there to get me to that top of the hour, and it would do it without fail, perfectly.
Wow, cool.
Yep.
That reminds me of a time. So I never got to meet James Brown, but I did get to meet Maceo for a minute.
Nice.
And I also met somebody that you met, Nick. You interviewed Pee Wee, remember?
Oh, yeah, that was an experience.
Yeah. We may not talk about that because it was an experience from what you told me. But yeah, I got to meet Maceo. He came over here and did a show, and it was in a little intimate venue called Under the Bridge, and that was pretty cool. To see a legend, a true legend up close like that.
Oh man, that's like I had I can't remember if it was back surgery or something, and there was a show that came to town, and I almost really in a wheelchair I wanted to go, and that was Fred Wesley.
Oh wow!
And I wanted to, and I seen videos of him and it was just great. People told me that it was the best thing they'd ever seen, so I really regret missing that one.
Wow!
Everyone's got a James Brown story. I was in New York in 2003. with my wife I call it BK, before kids. That's when we could afford to travel, and I think this place correct me if I'm wrong, it's called Memorial Park in New York. So we're walking through this park and they're setting the stage up, and it's a free concert. James Brown was playing there. Yeah, it was on the day we flew out. I never got, but I did interview Pee Wee because Pee Wee doesn't live that far away from where I live in the southwest of England. He lives down in Somerset. He's settled down there now, and quite often bump into him at the Cheltenham Jazz Festival. He's often there. He's never played there.
Yeah.
But again, I know Mike's saying that record saved him, but that's another record you could stick on the turntables in a club today and fill the floor
at any time. Yeah, my James Brown story can't be told on air. That'll be a sidebar conversation. it involves some illegal jail time, jailable offenses. So it doesn't involve me. It involves a close member of my family. So just leave it there. Absolutely leave it there.
So you were right, Nick. Everybody has a James Brown story.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Mine involves an empty cigarette pack that wasn't empty. Let's put it that way. Okay.
And it wasn't cigarettes either.
It wasn't.
Oh boy. I'm kind of stuck here because it's my go. And I'm gonna play something brass. I was gonna play some David Sanborn, but I think that's just too easy. So I'm gonna go with heavy metal horns and this track here. Now, heavy metal horns, I came across them. I think I was still living in DC, if I'm not mistaken. And there was a record store down off of H Street, 8th and H, maybe downtown. And there was a guy in there, and he was a musical genius. So I love this story. Me and my wife were driving, and we heard this song, and we couldn't remember what the name of it was because the guy didn't announce it at the end of it. So we went into this shop where we normally go and buy our music from. And that back then I was a jazz guy. So I went up to my dude and I was like, look, I just heard this brass song and I don't know who it was. He said, oh, so, well, how did it go? And I started humming this thing. He said, oh, yeah. That's heavy metal horns. Yeah, I think that track is called Pepper Pot. And Lord and behold, it actually was. And this was back in the day when guys in record stores knew what they were talking about. And I miss that because we don't have that anymore, all that's gone. And I remember the smell of a record store. Every record store had the same smell of incense, something else, and something else.
My first job in high school was in a record store. And I was one of those guys that you can give me 3 or 4 words to, and I can give you the song. I worked at Harmony Hut and Iverson Mall.
And you still are that guy.
Yeah, and I could, that was my thing. I could just give me a couple of words, and if I can't get it to you right away, I'll get it to you within a couple of minutes. So, all right. So we're still on the brass thing.
There's a story about that. So I woke
right. Yeah, you woke me up with that foolishness one day. I sure did.
Mike, what's this song? It says something about walking in the rain or something.
Right.
And he delivered. He actually delivered.
Yeah, really, I'm still eyes half closed and whatnot. I keep bumping into my desk. Sorry about that. Maybe I need to lower this desk. That may be the thought. So we're still on the brass thing, and I still got this dance song up there, but this brass thing's got me now. So here's where I am.
guitar. Wa la 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 la. Go on. Nothing sweeter than a piece of bongo. Wa la.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Uh-oh, they froze him. They froze him. They want him back on the mothership.
Oh, it's.
Mm.
It's funny how you missed to drop the Sanborn.
But the mothership again. Sorry, I'm gonna sit still now. Maybe I'm banging in the trumpet.
I just said that they wanted you back on the mothership.
Yeah, Mandrill. That was always one of my groups. What
Oh,
are the lyrics to this song, kind of thing? You know, what are they actually? What are they saying? You know,
bongo, bongo. That's all I got.
I'm gonna reset. I'm gonna bail out for a second.
Okay. Yeah, so you were saying about Chicago song. I thought about playing that, and that's one of it's probably my favorite David Sanborn track.
Yeah, I had Maputo lined up, but I thought, no, that's a bit easy. But Dave's a nice guy. So I met him twice, and his road manager's hilarious.
Oh yeah,
He's the road manager. Is every other word is F. He seems to like me because the second time I met David Sanborn, he was talking to somebody else. I walked in to do the interview, and he just ignored them and come straight over to me. He was telling me all these David Sanborn stories.
I met David years and years ago. It was a long time ago, but I haven't seen him since. Cool guy. Yeah, man.
One of the most genuine people I've ever had the pleasure of sitting down with. For someone that's been around for forever.
Yeah.
In his 70s now, and yeah, you tend to find with a lot of the older artists that they don't interview well. They've not been brought up in a world of doing interviews. So, I could interview a young jazz artist from either from all Europe or States or wherever, and they're fantastic for an interview. You get to see older guys, and it takes them a little while to
warm up,
to keep going. Yeah,
I think maybe they've been asked the same questions over and over again, and they just don't have the will to live through it anymore. Sometimes, you gotta come at them from a different angle.
Yeah, and it's to try and find something with anybody or what they particularly like. So when I did Marcus Strickland a few years ago, and he's got a twin brother, and I asked him if they double dated and swapped.
Oh, that's a great end. That's a great.
Opened up and talked your ear off.
That is hilarious.
At the end of the interview, we were talking about malt whiskey, and he's a malt whiskey collector, and because I'll start off with a couple of questions, and then I'll just go on what the artist tells me when I interview. Yeah, because as you say, people come with stock 10 questions. By the time they get to question 9, you can hear the artist is getting bored.
That's true. That's
What's
true.
your greatest favorite song? Well,
exactly.
When you've released as many albums, say someone like that, then they could have a favorite song, but it could be anything. But yeah, he was very gracious at that time to sit down with him.
Yeah, I stumbled on one of those things one time. I was interviewing Jazzy B, and somehow we ended up talking about the Black Panther movement and stuff, and he just lit up and opened up, and he was like, "This is the best interview I ever had. A lot of people don't know about that." Blah blah blah. I mean, it was great. But it wasn't planned. I just happened to
sing
on it.
Yeah, if you can strike that nerve, you got him.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Got him.
I think it's the art of a good interview. I always read the biography, but you always listen to what they're saying, and then they will drop something in. So another artist who says he can't listen to it. He records albums, but he can't listen to them because he thinks his work's rubbish. And I'm thinking they're fantastic albums, and he knows they're fantastic albums, but he can't listen to them.
Yeah.
And there's another artist who said that the most annoying thing is when he goes to a dinner party and someone puts one of his records on. He then spends the next 2.5 hours analyzing it.
Never thought about that. That's interesting. That's really interesting.
Nice.
There.
Mm.
Yeah, that's what I used to do with Mr. C on Saturdays. I would set the interviews up, and I was almost like the hype man, getting them ready to do the interview. And I would have them up to here. They're ready to go. And then he would come on and drop them down to zero because he wanted to talk about himself 9 times out of 10. But I went at it from an angle of how do you write? How do you create? What's that spark that gets you going? And like one time I told a guy, I said, you know what? Some of the music you wrote are like the soundtrack of my younger years, of heartbreak, of deceit, of just letdown, of things like that. I would try to connect to them on that level. And I was telling Conrad that the most difficult interview, the most uncomfortable interview I ever did was with Dionne Warwick, because she's Dionne Warwick. She's not, an R&B group that put out a couple of hits in the 70s that I can relate to, that I could talk to about the past. She's Dionne Warwick. How do you interview Dionne Warwick? And I was looking for,
she's a legend.
I was looking for that and in the back of my mind, a story came in, and I didn't know how to approach it. But I told Conrad this, and I guess Dionne, well, I don't know. Maybe she will hear this. Who knows? But I told Conrad that years ago, we were watching TV, and she was on TV singing, and he leaned over and tapped me on the shoulder, and he said, that was almost your mama, right? And I was like, what? What? So I'm thinking of this story as I'm interviewing her. I said, how do I round this corner to this story? And so I'm doing the pre-interview with her before she goes on the air. And I asked her if she remembered being in DC in the 70s and, what it was like and blah, blah, blah. And I asked her if she remembered WOL radio. And she goes, yeah, I did plenty of interviews there. I said, oh, my father used to work there. I said, do you remember Sonny Jim Kelsey? And she giggled. And it was a guilty giggle. And it was just like, oh, shit. I got you now. That was my in, and the rest of the interview was great. So you got to find that in.
It is. And whether they're not a huge artist or whether they're a huge artist. I think the huge artist, you can find that in, as you say, it is, your friends for life.
Absolutely. All right, Conrad. Well, I'm looking at my clock.
Yep.
You good?
Yeah. Believe me, I'm good.
That's
brave
funny.
new world now.
That is funny. All right. Well, I'll be excited to hear what the presentation is today. Very excited. All right. So I think I was last and I crashed. So who's got it?
It's you, Nick, isn't it?
Yeah, I've got one or two. I can't keep with the jazz thing, or bringing you up with some modern day disco. But I'm going to play this one, and there is a story behind this one, and it's led me into a lot of jazz that I'm starting to explore now. So we'll play this one.
Oh, beautiful.
Pretty baby, dry your eyes, don't you know it can't be that bad? How it hurts me, pretty baby, when I see you sitting there so sad. Don't need to worry about tomorrow, and yesterday is gone. So raise the chin up, girl, and we will work our problems out one by one. Hold me tight, don't let go. Turn me loose, never no. We'll stand up.
And I will cut it there, because as soon as they say dominoes, that's it. We're gone.
Yeah, that was a classic right there. That was DC classic right there. Wow.
Oh, yeah, Donald Byrd. What can you say? The first time I heard that, I think Joel Peterson was playing at the Slammer. There you go. That was another Slammer floor filler that people used to love, and that's what was different about the club. But Donald Byrd has led me into finding a bit more about Donald Byrd and his true jazz roots, and then it's exploded. So I'm now back in 1920 and looking at people like Artie Shaw and people like that from the 1920s, big band, and it just, I think once you start, I know you, Conrad, you've already mentioned that you were into jazz.
Yeah.
But once you start getting into it, and you explore different angles and different artists maybe that are not well known, and then you start to look at labels, and you think, okay, we move away from Blue Note and we look at Muse and different labels like that. And then a tip again, when I spoke to Giles Peterson a few years ago, he told me to go to the bargain bins.
Yeah.
Go to a bargain store and go to the bargain bins, because there is stuff there that, Maynard Ferguson's and people like that people aren't playing, but there's some real good stuff on there. And so, Donald Byrd is partly responsible for my, I wouldn't say my love of jazz and going way back to the big band era, because I don't know how those guys did it in the 1920s, perfectly honest.
Yeah. So the new lead singer of the Blackbirds is a friend of mine. And whenever he comes over here, I get to go and see the Blackbirds and hang out with him for a little while. But that's DC all day long. You know?
Doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Rock Creek, Fort DuPont, all of that stuff.
All of it. All
Yep.
of it. Yeah, man.
Yep. Yeah, definitely the free concerts. The free summer concerts over at Fort DuPont.
Yeah, you know what? And that was a great thing because it exposed a lot of people that couldn't afford to go to Constitution Hall and all of those places. They could go and they could see real artists play real instruments and, be exposed to music that way. So, yeah, that was one great thing. We have to thank Mr. Marion Barry for that,
About that.
Without a doubt. So I think we're just about, I think that's about us, really.
Okay.
So make sure you tell everybody where they can catch you, what you're up to, so that, people can go and listen to your show and hear more of what you're doing.
You want me to go first? I'm on Soul Legends Radio. That's at soullegendsradio.com. On your Alexa smart speaker, play Soul Legends Radio. It should come up every Saturday morning at 7 a.m. Till 10. Now, for people across the other side of the water, I'm repeated at midnight, Sunday to 3 a.m. Monday morning. So that's a bit more easier than getting up the early hours of the morning. It's a jazz show. We have a couple of albums of the week. We feature all new sort of jazz in there and some old stuff as well. Currently working my way through the Jazz A to Z, which is a bit weird because I just don't do jazz. I do albums, artists, beginning with a certain letter at W at the moment. And also back on a Sunday morning on the same radio station. It's at 8 o'clock with a more dance type show, which is, I said to them, you want to really put that at 8 o'clock on a Sunday morning?
That's what
the shows are a bit sort of like, they've got with Wu-Tang Clan and that in there. I said there's a bit of bad language in it. That's okay. We'll put it out. I said, okay. I'm slipping away from that one. So sometimes it's a bit heavy, but I tend to mellow it out because I know what time that's going out. But that's also on a French radio station. There's an app you can download called One Love FM. That's at 9 o'clock on a Sunday evening French time, or UK time, 8 o'clock French time. So that's where I'm at.
Cool. Nick,
Facebook, Instagram. That's me.
Nick, it was great having you here on Trading Tracks with me and my man Mike Kelsey. Mike, tell people where they can catch you.
Let's see. I'm looking at my sheets up here. I'm on Channel Radio, Channel 1 Music Radio. I'm on every Monday. Let's see. That's, wow, I got so many things. 9 p.m. in the UK, 4 p.m. in the East, 1 p.m. in the West. And I'm also on Revenge FM. That is 6 p.m. in the UK, 1 p.m. in the East, 10 a.m. in the West, and that's on Wednesdays. So keeping busy, definitely keeping busy. And of course, on Trading Tracks.
Absolutely. And I'm Conrad Meacham, and I do the Grown Folks Groove Show. And I'm also on Channel 1 Music Radio. That's on Mondays from 7 to 9 p.m. GMT. I'm also on Revenge FM, and that's on Wednesdays from 8 to 10 p.m. GMT. And that's right after my man, Mike Kelsey, who be funkin' from the basement. He's gonna bring me a bunch of trouble. So it's a different experience because I normally go on before him.
Oh, payback's a dog.
Oh,
Oh,
ain't it? Ain't it? Oh man, you got me working like a slave over here. I'm just and playing records and all kind of stuff. I don't know which way to turn. But look, we want to thank you again, Nick, for coming to Trading Tracks and
Oh.
trading some tracks with us and giving us some good stories. And I'm still laughing. Everybody has a James Brown story. That's crazy.
he was a character.
So
He was.
He was. He was. And I'm sure there are many others as well. But I haven't got a Miles Davis story.
I don't either. I can't say I have one of those. You got a Miles Davis story?
Me? Oh, I wish I did. I wish I did. I really wish I could only imagine.
That would be better than the James Brown story
Absolutely.
with a pack of
Absolutely.
cigarettes. Yeah, definitely.
I got a Colonel Abrams story, but that's another story.
Oh, we do that on the next Trading Tracks.
That'll work. That'll
I'm
work.
telling you. So look, I'm gonna take us up out of here, and I'm really excited that this happened, and we're gonna have to do it again. And everybody, thanks for tuning in and watching us trade tracks on Trading Tracks.